Brought to you by PrayLatin.com, makers of prayer cards featuring complete English phonetic renderings of Latin pronunciations.
A couple of days ago, I included in my live stream a clip of Cardinal Dolan unveiling that artwork in St. Patrick's Cathedral. And when I reported on it, all I'd really done was look at the art briefly. I didn't listen to what Cardinal Dolan said. And in my defense, I didn't listen to what he said because it's really hard to listen to Cardinal Dolan sometimes. Every year, he likes to conflate Lent with the practice of a false religion, their fake fasting season. And I know some people will be shocked and appalled that I called it a fake fasting season when the Ottomans do their fasting every year. But adherents of the crescent moon religion told me explicitly that fasting season is fake, that everybody becomes nocturnal, basically, except like the hardest core people among them. But broadly speaking, it's a fake fasting season. Cardinal Dolan conflated Lent with that fasting season. And now I can already hear some who are not a fan of the current Lenten practices, the revised Lenten practices that came into effect after Vatican II, where fasting was kind of made as an afterthought, really, in a lot of ways. But thankfully, a lot of people make up for that themselves by taking on extra sacrifices and fasting opportunities during Lent. Be that as it may, Cardinal Dolan's words on that and a lot of other things make him very hard to listen to. Hence why I didn't really listen to what he said. But we're going to watch this together, and you're going to see why I'm telling you this, because it turns out his cathedral isn't really fine. It's high-quality art. The artist has great skill and poured their heart and soul into their painting. I will not denigrate the work they did on the quality matters. The problem is Cardinal Dolan used this opportunity to do a very kind of, political sleight of hand here, because there are two secular issues, really, that the post-conciliar church, especially in the Francis and now Leo years, is very obsessed with. One is, of course, the environment. Care for our common home, as Pope Francis called it, and the thermometer problem that goes with it. And the other is immigration. And so here's Cardinal Dolan at the unveiling of the new artwork at St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Let there be light.
At a private event on Wednesday evening, Cardinal Dolan unveiled the largest artwork ever commissioned in St. Patrick's Cathedral's 146-year history.
Thanks be to God.
The 25-foot mural, created by Brooklyn artist Adam Svianovic, honors Our Lady of Knock and generations of immigrants who came to New York in search of faith, hope, and freedom.
I've been kind of nervous about it since wondering how it's going to turn out. I was confident, but you're still sort of nervous. But it is stunning. What set my mind is today when those cops came in. And they I was told they teared up when they saw the policemen. That they said, we made this work of art.
The mural, titled What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, depicts a procession of immigrants, from 19th century arrivals to present-day New Yorkers. Beneath the gaze of the Blessed Mother, Cardinal Dolan noted the cathedral's legacy as a home for all peoples.
St. Patrick's Cathedral, America's parish church, rejoices as art and beauty again charm these walls that lift millions up to heaven and inspire us to pray, reflect, and imagine. This city is glad, seeing her historic role in welcoming all celebrate.
I don't have a problem with the quality of the art. Some of it's quite beautiful. The depiction of Our Lady, quite beautiful, and the angels and the rest. But this cannot possibly have been done not on purpose. The timing is just too good. Cardinal Dolan is not one to really kind of take partisan sides per se. You can find as many pictures of him rubbing shoulders with some pretty troubling progressive politicians, including Barack Obama and others like him, as well as pictures of him rubbing shoulders with Donald Trump and George W. Bush. He gets along with all the secular leaders, and as the Cardinal Archbishop of one of the most important sees in the entire country, that's not a bad thing, really. I mean, obviously, maybe he wants to keep the figures like Obama at a little bit of arm's length, have his relations with him be cordial yet strictly professional, as opposed to friendly relations with someone who fights against the Catholic Church's moral teachings as much as the former president did and still does. But the timing on this is just, it's too perfect. It's too on the nose. It is one of the hottest debated things in the country right now. People, law enforcement officials involved in this getting called all kinds of nasty names. The secular left demanding they show their faces when they do this so they can then, of course, find out who they are and release their home information on the internet and do all the rest of the evil things that you should not be doing, that good people would not do, because there's only one purpose for it in this case, and that is to, of course, make them feel unsafe. To use fear as a political tool. There's a word for that starts with the letter T that you can't say on most social media platforms. I think you know which one it is. It's the hot button issue that divides this country. Although on balance, most people seem to support, if not super enthusiastically, what the president is doing on that issue. Not super enthusiastically because there's no pretty way to do it. There's no nice way to remove large numbers of people who shouldn't be here in the first place, who violate the church's teaching on rendering under Caesar what is Caesar's, including the rule of law, including the laws on entry into a country. There's no nice way to do it. So this appears to be Cardinal Dolan's kind of cheeky, sly way of getting at the issue. And I wouldn't even find it remarkable if he spoke bluntly on the issue. The problem is that art's going to be up in that cathedral for the next 25 or 30 years before it gets repainted again by his successor or his successor's successor. That's kind of the problem here. Now, you might think I'm just being too rigid and too closed-minded and jumping to conclusions and judging Cardinal Timothy Dolan too harshly on all of this. You might have a point. If you think that's the case, give me your best, most peaceful take on why I'm wrong. We could disagree on these issues as long as it doesn't devolve into just heinousness in the comments, especially since YouTube frowns on that. Actually, they very seriously do. But I'm curious otherwise what you think of this, so let me know in the comments. Do you like that artwork? Do you not mind that it definitely touches on some political buttons? Or are you like me? You see the talent there. You see, though, that the artist clearly poured his heart and soul into it, but at the same time, there's a big problem. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps too. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.